So the next feature I'm going to talk about is a payment function. This is something we have previously worked on in class. However, I did have a few students ask questions about this function, so I thought it would be useful to maybe walk through and explain it step by step. So basically in Excel, when you are using the payment function, you are asking Excel to calculate for you what your payments will be based upon a monthly interest rate, a certain number of monthly payments, and then an amount of money that you will be borrowing. So you worked on this last week, or maybe even the week before. So what I'd like to do is to walk through it step by step. I have created a worksheet similar to what you had been working on in class. So you will see here, I do have the interest rate. However, it is important to note that this is an annual interest rate. Therefore, you will not be paying the full 6% every month. So in order to accurately work with the payment function, you need to calculate how much you will be paying in interest each month. So in row 6, I do have a section set up for monthly interest rate. So I'm going to click in cell B6. So here I am going to build a formula to calculate that monthly interest rate. So I start with the equal sign, and then I will select the cell with the number for my annual rate, and then I will divide it by the number of months in a year, which is 12, and press enter. So you now can see that this is the percent I will pay per month in interest on my payments. So when you look in the formula bar, you will see that I just took B4 and I divided it by 12. I could have typed in 6% and divided that by 12 and received the same result. However, if for some reason I have a variable interest rate and this would change, so would my interest rate. So now that we have all the key components, it's time to build the payment function. I'm going to do it two different ways. The first way I'm going to do it is what I always recommend anytime you are just getting used to working with formulas and functions so that it becomes more of a habit. So I would encourage you in the beginning with anything that you're doing to click the Insert Function button to open the function dialog box. So here, commonly used functions will appear in the bottom. However, if the one you need does not appear, you can type it in the top and then click Go. In this case, we are using the payment function, so I will select it and then click OK. So now I have a function arguments dialog box. The key benefit to this is until you get used to what goes where, this helps you sort of break it down. So in the very first section, this formula wants you to type in manually the actual monthly interest rate, or you can select the cell with the monthly interest rate. So here I am going to select the cell that has my monthly interest rate, and then I will click in the next box. Here, NPR is asking for the number of monthly payments. So I could do this one of two ways. Here I have the number of payments I will be making over the lifetime of the loan, so I could select the cell with that number. Or if I didn't do the math ahead of time, if I just have the number of years, I could select the cell with a number of years, and then in here I could multiply by 12 so that it will return the total number of months I will be making payments throughout the course of my loan. Either way, you are going to get the same result. The last section that's mandatory for this function is PV. This stands for present value. So this is the amount of money that you will be borrowing. So in this case, I'm going to start with $50,000. So I am looking for Excel to tell me on a loan of $50,000 over a 240-month period at a rate of 0.6%, what will my payment be? And you can see here it gives you a real quick guesstimate of what the answer is going to be. So I can click OK. So for some of you, you did get the answer returned in red, which tends to be a number in deficit. not ideal typically for payments. So to correct that, all I have to do is put a negative in front of the PMT and press enter, and I have corrected it. The other way you can do a payment function is directly in the cell. So if I type the equal and PM, the function name will pop up, and I can double click. So as I am working through this function, you can see that it highlights for me what it is looking for. So the very first thing I have to do is tell Excel what is the rate. So I'm going to select the cell with the rate, and then once I type the comma, it moves on to the next thing it's looking for. So now it wants the number of payments. I'm going to click the cell with 240, type a comma, and now the present value. This time I am looking for a loan of $150,000. I'm going to go back and put in my negative, and then I can press the enter key. So it has now returned the payment amount that I will pay for 240 months on a $150,000 loan. Both ways to create a payment or to use a payment function are correct. It's really just a matter of what you're most comfortable with.